I am Slick Nick, your personal hairline hero. YouTube's the #2 search engine in the world. And I've learned people are constantly searching receding hairline, widow's peak, am I gonna go bald? And I've built an empire off of this topic. I know the reality of it. It's very easy to predict if you're gonna go bald. I've made multiple videos. If you really cared and wanted to know, you could type in 5 ways to know if you're going bald. You could type it in my channel and find out, and that's the end of it. You wouldn't need to ask me, Nick, am I going bald? Because you would be able to tell me. It's really that simple. I know all the answers. I've made thousands of videos about this. But let's focus on a specific point, and that someone had said recently, Nick, your channel is really looks maxing is what it is. I didn't even know what that was. I looked it up. I made a video about it recently, and oh yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I know that being judged by appearance as a male, you work with what you have. You don't try to change nature or whatever. But ultimately, I know that beyond people seeing you, then there's all these other things too. Like, are you confident? Are you funny? Are you engaging with that person? You know, and even too, like, are you dressed nice or do you look like a slob? Like, are you wearing khaki pants with New Balance shoes? Well, that's one of those things too. But even beyond that, I know what actually makes a man attractive, and it's well beyond that. I've made that video. If you really cared to know, you could look up that video pretty easily as well. But what I want to focus on specifically is asking that question, how short of a buzz cut can you have and it still look good on you? Now, I would actually say, until you've gone with a zero guard buzz cut, you can't really criticize that. People say, oh, I don't have the right head shape. Well, most guys who say that have not actually buzzed all their hair off. A lot of people who watch my channel know that about every year and a half, I will buzz off all my hair. And I'm a couple months past that year and a half mark. It would have happened on my 40th birthday. Now I'm a couple months into being 40. I'm feeling the itch. I'm feeling the urge to do it again. Now, I probably will by the end of the year. I'm not gonna do it today. I'm not gonna do it next week. When I feel like doing it, I will. Probably what's gonna happen is I'm gonna have one more haircut like this, where it's what a number 5, I've already forgot. A number 5 on top and was it a 0 on the sides? Whatever it was, it's in the notes at the place where they cut my hair, and they'll do it again. But there's a good chance after that, I'll go ahead and buzz it off. And what I'm thinking about is either a number 1 or a number 2. Even though I love 0 personally, what I want to experiment with is I want some of the dark people. Some people say I have black hair, other people say dark brown, but I want that color still coming in. So I'm thinking probably a number 1 all over would look good. So that's probably what I'm going to experiment with. But as far as looking at that, I think there's definitely certain levels of how short can you have your hair, and that's one question. Because what I endorse is men to have their hair shorter, especially in an age of people choosing their gender pronouns. I think there's undeniably that much more value on men who identify as masculine. I think you stand out more. So I think now more than ever, short hair, and also it's less maintenance, and also any guy who seems that into his looks, and I understand technically this is a looks maxing channel, but I'm not worried about my looks. I'm aware of how to make the most of what I have, but I'm not worried and obsessed about it. You know, and I just think of the worst haircut in the world, even worse than a mullet, is the 13-year-old boy that has the bangs and has to constantly do that. Like, I want to be the opposite of that. I want hair that basically doesn't move, just work with what I got there. But I think an interesting question, in addition to how short can you have your hair and it still look good, how short can you have a buzz cut and it still look good? Now, for me personally, and this is what made me think of making this video, is that my hair grows straight out. Like, just straight out, wherever the hair is, straight out. So on the sides, they have to do some extra buzzing off to kind of curve it to keep it from looking like a diamond. Like, that's how it has to be. And like most men, you know, beyond the age of 30, which I'm 10 years beyond that, my hair in general is thinner on the top than it is the sides. It's like most men in general, the thickest part of their hair is on the sides. So I know that if my hair is all the same length, it may bring the wrong kind of attention to the top, where it actually makes the top look even thinner than it actually is. So that's something I'm aware of too. But I think when that time comes, and it will not be because someone asked me to do it, it's going to be because I feel like doing it. And so often when I buzz off all my hair, I do it in the fall. That's my favorite season of the year. And I actually think fall and winter, well, it's already cold when I go outside anyway. I'm more likely to wear a hat. And then when I take it off, it doesn't even matter anyway because there's nothing to mess up. So I like having buzzing off my hair usually in colder weather. And it feels good too. It feels good to be able to go to the pumpkin patch with my family and have a hoodie and have a shaved head. And I liked it. Not say shaved head, but probably gonna go with the number one when that time comes until I get tired of it. And then guess what? Number 5 on top. So it would take a month or so for me because my hair goes really fast, and then I'm already back to having this hairstyle again. And for me, I feel like this is the token hairstyle that I want to stick with. I love how low maintenance that it is, and I can go without a haircut for a bit before it really looks like I need a haircut. And then when I do, it looks that much better because it's time for a haircut. So I think ultimately this whole thing about the crew cut with the number 5 on top and like a 0 on the sides, I'm totally happy with that. And it's already so short that when I do buzz it off, within a month it's already grown back. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. But I know it's different from every man. My brother-in-law Tom, he's exactly a decade. He was born exactly a decade from me. So he's 50. He turned 40 in April, whereas I turned 40. He turned 50. I turned 40, and he has a number 2 guard just all over that he has his wife do, my sister-in-law. And he told me that, and I was thinking, that's a number 2 because it looked like it was a lot longer. Well, different types of hair, different hairlines, different hair textures. So a number 2 all over on him looks different than a number 2 on me. And of course, also his hair doesn't grow straight out. So I'll be interested to see how that works out. I mean, and really, it's like I've got nothing to lose if I get it wrong because my hair grows fast and it's already short. It's been a couple weeks since I've had my last hairstyle. So I think that's important for every man to figure out. If you're watching this channel because you're interested in this whole hair loss topic or whatever, and because it's a looks maxing red pill perspective, it's working with what you got and being red pill about it, saying I'm not a victim. I don't need to pay someone for a hair transplant or drugs or whatever it is to keep my hair. I'm just going to work with what I got. If I go bald, I go bald. If I go bald, how can I make that look as good as possible? And we have enough very successful actors that have proven, especially now, going back to what I said at the beginning of the video, that is, society definitely has a value for men who identify with their masculinity. So for some people, that's the road to go. But for those of us who still have hair, and I think closing statement, that's what I'm coming to, is when you still have, quote, a full head of hair. I mean, most people in real life, they see me as a guy with a widow's peak. At worst, they don't really even see me as a guy with a receding hairline. So for me to shave off all of my hair seems like an overkill. And I'm like, well, why'd you do that? If a guy was already bald and they wouldn't ask that, they're like, hey, you look good. You took the plunge or whatever. But for me, I still have a full head of hair. So it seems a bit over the top for me to shave it all off. But a number 1 guard would leave enough of the hair color to where it doesn't seem excessive. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm feeling. Your comments belong right here.